Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Around the Felt. We're in week 15 now of the NFL season. I'm one of your hosts, Reagan, here with my other host, Colin. We're going to be breaking down all things week 15. Let's move on in those playoff matchups, week one of the fantasy playoffs.
Yes,
Colin, how are we
sir.
doing? You ready to rock? You ready to
Hey,
go?
I'm doing well, man. We got a late night Wednesday here, but the boys are grinding. We're getting out the content for all you loyal supporters. So, happy to be here. Excited to talk some week 15 ball, fantasy playoffs. I know we were just chatting about best ball before the pod started and those lineups on Underdog getting through, and now we have a chance to win $2 million for 3 of my entries.
Imagine.
We got a chance. So we'll see what happens, man. It's really fun because you don't really think about those best ball teams all year.
No,
And now it's like, fuck, what entries got through? It's go time to win some big coin. So
it is
I'm
go
excited,
time
man.
now.
It's going to be a fun weekend of football. That's for sure. How you feeling, man? I see you got that little furry hat on. Sounds like you got the sniffles a little bit. You
Yeah,
battling
no,
through some adversity?
Yep, I've definitely been sick. Got a sinus infection going for almost a week now, so it's been fun working through that.
Damn, bro. You're a
It's just
trooper. You really are a
yeah,
trooper.
yeah. I haven't taken any days off, and I'm here on the pod. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. But you
Attaboy,
can tell in
man.
my voice
Attaboy.
maybe a little bit I'm losing it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we got 16 games to break down tonight, so let's try to be a little concise and keep this nice, short, and sweet for you guys as much as we can. And let's get into the news and really kick this thing off. So I know we mentioned on the Monday pod that the Colts were bringing in Phillip Rivers for a workout, and since then he has signed, and it looks like he's in line to start at Seattle on Sunday, which is no
Probably.
easy task for any quarterback, let alone a 44-year-old grandfather. Obviously, the spread here is ridiculous. I believe it's like 2 touchdowns. So Vegas fully expects Seattle defense to tee off on Phillip Rivers here. Man, what are your expectations for Rivers? What would you set his over-under at for passing yards?
I mean, I just put a fab claim on him in our dynasty league just because it's a super flex. I'm in the playoffs, and right now my only options are Dak and Kirk Cousins because my other 2 quarterbacks are Dylan Gabriel and Justin Fields, who aren't playable. So I just dropped a lot of fab, and I'm not going to sit here and say that Phillip Rivers might not make it in my lineup. He may be in my lineup over Kirk Cousins the way it's going because Cousins is
God.
not this week because I have the bye, but next week there's a chance with how bad Kirk Cousins has looked that he's out of the lineup and Phillip Rivers is in. This will be a very, very big test. I'm going to look right now. I wonder if I would imagine there's no lines you could really put out for player props right now.
And that's the
Yeah,
league that
all the Colts props are off the books right now, which I assume they
imagine.
would be.
And that's the league where if I win this week, I would face you in the semifinals, correct?
Correct. Yes, you might be
I
going
love this
against Phillip Rivers.
conversation. Phillip Rivers or Kirk Cousins. You're lucky the rest of your
Not
team's
only that, I
winning.
have him he's playing the 49ers on Monday Night Football, so I might be relying on him and McCaffrey on Monday Night Football to beat you.
Oh, God. Colts, Niners. I got no one on either of those teams, so the hay will be in the barn for my squad. Granted, I got to win this week, but it's a team that sold at the deadline and somehow limped their way into the playoffs. And I'm a 40-point projected win right now, so hopefully that comes to fruition, and we have next week Reagan versus me in the semifinals of a dynasty. And then maybe the week after, me versus you in the finals of another league. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We both got buys.
For sure.
So we'll see. All right. Moving on from that. Got to talk about some college football, Reagan, because what's going down in Ann Arbor, Michigan as of literally an hour ago. Holy shit. Michigan has fired head coach Jerome Moore, and they were very blunt and very open with the details that unethical behavior, a relationship with a staff member, an affair was going on. Apparently, she got pregnant, and apparently he is now in police custody because he went to her house and threatened to, kill her and kill himself. Went on a tirade. So this is...
Oh, I didn't see that part. I saw that he was in custody. I didn't know that was why.
Yeah, apparently that's what's going on right now. The details are coming out like as we speak, but it does not look pretty. And for a head coach that took over for Harbaugh, a 10-3 season for Michigan, wow. And this late in the coaching cycle, after all the drama that this cycle has given us, not ideal for Michigan, man. Not ideal.
No, not at all. and they have a bowl game still too, aren't they? I didn't think they weren't one of the teams to opt out, were they? So with all this going on, they still have a bowl game. Again, they're playing Texas, like that's a big time bowl game. That's not till January 31st, so they still have 3 weeks to plan ahead without them. But damn,
dude, yeah, you don't see something like that every day. So, I mean, I hate Michigan, so I'm not complaining, but. Yeah, I mean, you just hate to see it. You hate to see it, brother.
Something like that, bro.
Tough way to go out, man. Tough way to go out. All right, back to the NFL here. Some injury news we got for you. So Jayden Daniels left the game on Sunday after getting knocked over, banging up his arm. No structural damage, thankfully. However, he's not going to play this Sunday against the Giants, and why would you put him out there? Let's be honest. So it's going to be Mariota going against the Giants here, and the Giants are actually favored in this game. I bet if Jayden was playing, that 2.5-point spread might flip the other way. But your thoughts on this? I know we've talked about Jayden Daniels a lot, and really no risk. There's no reason to risk it with him.
Yeah, I didn't think there was a chance he would play in this game after getting banged up again. I mean, they're eliminated at this point, and you saw last week he got re-injured, and they lost Zach Ertz. I mean, getting bad in Washington right now. Like, this seems like a team in a very lost season. Like, I will get into a little bit, but I'm pretty confident in the Giants going into this weekend because, one of them has a young rookie quarterback who's going to be suiting up. Not that the Commanders don't have a young quarterback, but it seems like he's not going to suit up. And, coming off of the NFC Championship, it's like, yeah, things are going south really quickly, where for the Giants, it's like things are on the up, put the record aside. They got a lot of things to be happy about with this season. And, so I think they're going to come out and play well in this. But for the Commanders, man, it does make me question, like, do they move on from Dan Quinn? I don't think so.
No.
No. I'm saying, but if they get off to a slow start next year again and struggle, he might be out of Washington, 3 years in.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, dude, for a defensive coach to have them take this big of a step back, I know there's not a ton of guys there, but I mean, they have such a bad unit for a defensive first head coach.
That's a good point, but I will counter with it was very bad in 2023, and he turned them around in 2024, and now they're very bad again in 2025.
Yeah,
so,
I'm more so saying I'm not saying they're going to fire him, but I think next year if they struggle early and it's another lost season, they'll probably likely move on after 3 years with him. But it doesn't matter if they win games next year; then all will be forgotten.
Hot take. All right, Geno Smith unlikely to play with a shoulder injury. That would mean Kenny Pickett is in line to start against his former team, the Philadelphia Eagles. This spread is also around 2 touchdowns. I think it's maybe 11 or 11.5, I think I saw. So
yeah, 11.5.
Vegas does not have a lot of faith in Kenny Pickett here. I mean, why would you? This just seems like a prime spot for Philly to get back on track.
Yeah, definitely a prime spot for Philly to get back on track. I would imagine we're going to have Kenny Pickett in Big Dogs Parlay just as a revenge
game.
Anytime rushing touchdown, probably like plus 900 there. So lock it in, get some juice on that. But yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to talk
Kenny
about
Pickett.
there.
Yeah, he's done. And then good injury news, Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan, the 2 Tampa Bay wide receivers, activated off IR. Both are questionable against the Falcons this upcoming Sunday. And let's be honest.
No, they play tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. They play Thursday night.
Yeah.
They play tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they're questionable to play tomorrow. I have to imagine it is absolute go time with Tampa Bay here at 7-6. I think they suit up, but this is massive for that Tampa Bay offense. I know Baker has taken a step back the last month or so. Clearly the injuries are catching up to him. Hopefully this gives him enough ammunition around him where he can get back into form.
Yeah, I mean, this would be massive to get, either guy back, if not both guys back. I mean, you would think. I mean, I guess this is because, like I was saying earlier in the week, like this game, it matters, but it doesn't matter in the sense where, like, if you can just beat the Panthers twice, these next 2 games don't matter because, they're at the point, the Bucs and Panthers, where they're essentially the 4 seed or they're out of the playoffs. There's no room for getting higher seeds at this point. Like, they're just focused on winning the division. So, yes, this is a massive game in the sense of that. But, like, if they were to hold them out one more week to give them an extra 10 days so that they have them fully ready to go in a crucial game against the Panthers next week, would I fault them? No. So I think because of that, there's a chance they both miss.
That would suck because I'd love to see him back in there. But hey, we'll see. I think Mike Evans suits up, man. How many yards does he need per game to eclipse 1,000? Like 175 or some shit like that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, it might as well be. Yeah, I can't imagine he has like more than like 300 on the year right now.
That would be crazy.
He didn't really play that much. Yeah, let him cook. Let him go for like 200 tomorrow and just start the conversation. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, he's got 140 on the season right now. So, yeah,
140 on the season. Oh God, yeah.
He would need. He would just need a cool 215 per game to get that.
That's fucked. Yeah, that's done. All right, man. That's all I got from news. What do we got in the mailbag tonight?
Not a whole lot of questions. Just Caleb tonight, which is all right. Not everybody had questions. I was a little late in getting out the link today, just with some work stuff going on. Not that this isn't my full-time job, but there are other obligations. But Caleb wants to know my running back room in fantasy. Wait, what the fuck? All right, let's try this a third time. My RB room in my fantasy league. I'm 9-5, the 4th seed. Looks like this: Saquon, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, and Judkins. Who do I play this week for round 1 of the playoffs?
So, are we assuming one's at flex? Are we picking 3?
I'm gonna, I mean, I guess we'll pick 2, and then you say the flex option, so he knows the clear cut 2 you want to play, and which one would be the flex. Because I'd imagine one's definitely hitting the bench. Some obviously Saquon's got the Raiders. Huge matchup. Jets, Jaguars play, so that's Breece Hall and Etienne in that one. And then Judkins plays the Bears on the road.
I mean,
to me, Saquon, you have to play.
Have to.
Just because of the matchup. And last week, you saw like a little bit of a rejuvenation in the run game. He looked really good against the Chargers. Or I say last week as if it wasn't Monday, but that's a must start for me. Then it gets tough. I'll probably go with Etienne just because of the fact that it's a game script that says it's supposed to be a lot of points in favor of the Jaguars. They're 13.5-point favorites, where the Browns and the Jets, both guys could get game scripted out really quickly if it turns into a passing affair. Even more so Judkins, because at least Breece Hall is a 3-down back. Not that he's involved in the passing game anyways. For some reason, he's just not. But
I saw that it's going to be super, super windy, no pun intended, in the Windy City for this Bears-Browns game where temperatures could touch -20. That tells me it's going to be a run-heavy slate.
See that.
But is there going to be enough offensive production for Judkins to get you there? Because he could get 25 carries for 112 yards. You need the touchdown. You need the touchdown.
Well, I was going to put him 3. Breece was going to be in at 4 for me. Etienne would be 2.
I agree. I think just Judkins is my 3.
Brady Cook, it could get really, really ugly for the Jets.
Yeah,
and you could be looking at a similar game script of last week. Because even against the Dolphins, and Breece also hasn't been practicing with a knee injury, but even last week against the Dolphins, like he was 14 for 43 on the ground, but he had 1 target in the receiving game. Like they don't utilize him as a receiver. I don't know why, but they just don't. And, you would have thought he would be fully utilized in a game script that was just passing the ball a ton with a young quarterback. But Isaiah Davis was more involved as the receiver last week. So for me, that's why I'm not gonna even tempt it.
I agree, man.
Options at this point.
Also, that Jags matchup is just not ideal. Their defense can really show up, and Etienne, it's tough because you can get totally burnt, or he could do what he did last week, where he had like 18 carries to Tutin's 2, or he'd be the week before where Tutin snakes his touchdown. It's more of a 50-50 split. But to your point with the game script, like they're a fat favorite over the Jets. So you got to think both running backs will be involved, and there'll be enough volume for Etienne to hopefully find pay dirt and get you a solid day.
Yeah, I think you just got to roll with Etienne. Plus, he's even if Tutin's involved, he's still going to get 15 touches in this game at least. I think they're going to try to run the ball down the Jets' throat. But let's move on to his next question. He wants to know, realistically, how old do you think my son will be the next time the Jets make the playoffs? Nico.
Nico. It's the longest drought in the 4 major sports, correct? You would know how many years?
It's 15.
Yeah.
I know there's a hockey team, the Sabres in Buffalo, that are like neck and neck with us for that. Not that really makes me feel any better or matters, because who the fuck cares about hockey? But I would say maybe just don't raise him as a Jet fan. No.
Do you think Aaron Glenn is the coach that gets you back? Because if not, then you got to be thinking like 5 years at least.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say. I mean, he's shown some flashes, but I mean right now it's hard to have any confidence. There's not really a clear direction we're going in.
They need to hit on a quarterback within the next 2 years for it to be feasible.
Yeah, like see me, I think we shouldn't even draft a quarterback next year. Like I think there's so many other spots to build up this roster first. But because there's not a lot of win now pieces on the roster.
I'm going to say the Jets are back in the playoffs in 2031. I think they go 21 years is what it's going to end at. So 6 years old.
Oh, there you go. By then, maybe he'll be, receptive enough about what's going on. Maybe by the time, I'd say by the time Nico can have his first legal drink, we'll be there.
The Jets might get booted from the NFL if it takes that long.
I don't even know. Maybe by the time Nico's got his first kid, when Nico Jr.'s here, maybe.
When you're a grandpa, that's when the Jets will make the playoffs.
Caleb, when you're a grandpa, so no, I don't know, bro. It's bad. That's a good one though. That is definitely a good one. Hopefully the little guy doesn't have to suffer like his father did watching these Jets and Mets.
Is that all we? Yeah, the Mets, dude, losing Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz. Oh, man. Yeah. To be a Jets and Mets fan right now is tough.
And if you're a Nets fan too, it's not like the basketball team's any good either. That's it for the questions though. So let's get into the matchups.
All right, man. 16 minutes in, get to the matchups. I love it. I absolutely love it. And we're going to start off with Thursday Night Football. We got a divisional matchup that, when they set this up before the season, I'm sure they were hoping was going to have a lot more juice. But you got Atlanta at 4-9, travel to Tampa Bay to face the 7-6 Bucs. Tampa Bay, a 4.5-point favorite. Feels about right with a total of 44.5. All right, Reagan. The Bucs last week lost to the Saints. They're reeling right now. Potential help on the way. What do you think about this game? You believe in Kirko?
Yeah, I think I'm rolling with Kirko, man. I am. I actually do think the Falcons. Because the Falcons, the thing is, they have nothing to lose at this point. It's just pure, like, they don't have their first rounder. Not that the players care about that, but I think they're just due to come out here and explode. And the Bucs right now are just, like, limping, like, falling apart. They have not looked good recently. I mean, losing to the Saints at home as an 8-point favorite and, like, not a must-win game because, like I said, I keep highlighting, like, those two Panthers games matter so much more. But, like, that, you really control your destiny. And then, like, even going, 0-2 in that, you still have a chance to make it. So that was a really bad loss for them. And I don't like what I'm seeing from them right now. Baker's not 100%. He doesn't seem like that same fiery Baker we've seen. The offense is kind of clunky right now. And I think they're going to struggle to contain Bijan in this game. I mean, it does help their case. Drake London's out. I know they already ruled him out in this one.
Yep.
But I think this is going to be a big Bijan game. Like, I think he could go for, like, close to 200 yards in this game and just explode on Thursday Night Football and show, like, hey, I'm one of the best running backs in football, if not the best.
Yeah, we have seen Tampa Bay, although in the entirety of the season, their run defense is top 10. But we have seen them get gashed for massive, massive outputs, and this seems like the recipe for Bijan to do it. I do want to flag Kyle Pitts the last 2 weeks with no Drake London has been pretty freaking good. He's the number one option in that passing attack right now, and Kirk Cousins likes finding him. So I'm actually benching Tyler Warren for Kyle Pitts in a first-round fantasy matchup, which I never thought I'd do this season, but here I am. I'm not going to go with Phillip Rivers and Tyler Warren. I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts on Thursday night. However, I don't think that's enough for them to get the win here. I do have them covering the 4.5 because we have seen Atlanta rise to the occasion and play up to the caliber of the team they're playing. And you are right in a sense where it's like they do have nothing to lose, where all the pressure is on Tampa Bay in this one. So I think that matters. And I would have picked Tampa Bay to win this game and cover if it was clear to me Baker Mayfield was healthy and playing like he was earlier in the year. He's just compromised right now. He's inaccurate, and it's unlike him. And it's clear as day to see that. So even if he does have Mike Evans back in the fold here, I do have my concerns. Bucky Irving being back is awesome for this offense, absolutely. Last week, it was more of a three-headed monster. The week before, it was a lot of Bucky. I hope we see a 70% Bucky workload in this one. That'll really help me in my fantasy matchup. Number one. Number two, that'll help me feel more confident Tampa Bay covering the 4.5. Ultimately, though, short week games can be sloppy, particularly division games. So I'm going to go with Atlanta, the underdog, to cover the spread. But with Tampa Bay being at home and just the stakes on the line here, I think Baker will tough it up and make some plays in the fourth quarter and get him a win.
Yeah, I mean, I just also right now, like Tampa Bay's defense, I don't have a lot of confidence in either. I mean, I guess the one good thing is like where they got beat last week was Tyler Shuck's legs, and I don't think you have to worry about that with Kirk Cousins at this point. So I guess that's a good thing to take away. Where it's like, all right, as bad as they looked last week, he wasn't really beating him with his arm; he was beating him with his legs. But I haven't been exactly inspired by the defense over the past 5 games. They haven't really looked right since that dominant win on the road against the Saints. They've obviously are now winners. Oh no, they're on they've won 1 out of the last 4, and that was over the Cardinals, who they only beat by 3 and really didn't look good in that game either.
So question for you. Where does Kirk Cousins rank in terms of the most immobile quarterbacks? Would you put him 1 above Stafford? Now with Phillip Rivers in the fold,
I was going to say
Rivers
is
probably 1. Is Stafford 2 or is Kirk Cousins 2?
I mean, Goff's got to be in that conversation too. He's not very mobile.
No,
even
he's not.
Tua's got to be in that conversation as well.
Tua's more mobile
Rodgers
than those guys,
as well.
Rodgers just scored a rushing touchdown, so I think he gets a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there. I gotta go. I think Stafford's 2. I think Kirk is 3 now. That's my immobile quarterback.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting list. That's for sure.
You have an MVP candidate. You have a guy fresh off the couch at 44. You have Kirko, who's written off the torn Achilles.
Yeah, he said it's now, and he's going to be the first touchdown scorer tomorrow.
Imagine.
That would be something else.
On the wheel. All right, man, let's move on here. A massive matchup here. Sunday in the 1:00 slate. Damn, if they could flex this shit, they would. Fortunately, they can't. The 9-4 Bills travel to the 11-2 Patriots. Buffalo needs this one for a chance to win the division. New England got the better of them earlier in the season, so they do have the head-to-head advantage right now. It is the Bills on the road as a 1.5-point favorite, interestingly enough, with a total of 50.5. Does that line feel odd to you? Does it feel trappy when you consider the heroics they needed to beat the Bengals last week?
No, that sounds about right, because at least I ultimately think the Bills are the better team. I'm very impressed the Patriots beat them the first time around, but I still do think if you put them in it, it's just the eye test, and it's not. I know the Patriots just keep winning, but you see who the Bills are beating, you see who the Patriots are beating. Yes, the Patriots beat them prior, but I find it hard to believe that the Patriots are already that ahead of the Bills that they're going to sweep them twice. I also think this game means so much more to the Bills right now than it does the Patriots. Like, the Patriots win this game, they clinch the division. Obviously, they're still playing because they need to get that 1 seat, but that really puts them in the driver's seat, where the Bills, they're going to make the playoffs. A loss here, yeah, that definitely could hurt the wild card case, but this is to not only keep the wild card case going, but still have them fighting in the division, only a game back in New England. So they're very much alive still in the AFC East, so they got to have it. But Patriots with a win here do clinch the AFC East officially.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm going to go with the Bills to win this one. Just that gotta have it mentality. Just Josh Allen in that moment, I feel like he's going to take advantage of it. What does concern me is this Buffalo run defense. Ramondre, I hate to say it, has been running the ball pretty well since he got back, and obviously Henderson has kind of had his breakout and has been consistent over the last month or so, because this Bills team is definitely better through the air. They have the pass rushers, but on the ground, they're not very good. They're bottom 6 in football, right? So for New England to win this game, they got to hold the ball. They got to keep Josh Allen off the field, and it's got to be their running backs going to work in that offensive line. But with no Will Campbell, who knows if they still have the same capabilities on the ground at this point. It just feels like a spot for the Bills to make things interesting, to kind of spark their late season run into the playoffs and give them some momentum. So I'm going to go with Buffalo here. And I do agree with you in the sense where it's like, yeah, the Patriots just haven't lost, but the eye test says you're beating all the teams that are top 10 in the draft order. Not all of them, but most of them. And it's like, okay, I know you beat them earlier in the season in Buffalo too, and you got to respect that win. But I have a hard time thinking they're going to sweep the season series.
Yeah, I do too. I really do too. So we'll see. But yeah, it's hard to have full faith in a matchup that's going to be this tight.
All right, man. Another divisional matchup here. The Baltimore Ravens at 6-7 travel to the 4-9 Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, these teams just played on Thanksgiving just 2 weeks ago. Baltimore is a 1.5 point favorite. Total 52.5. That is juicy. If you recall, that over hit the last time these teams played, and Cincinnati actually beat up on Baltimore. However, with Cincinnati now at 4-9, not a lot to play for. I don't know if you saw Joe Burrow's press conference today, but he was all down in the dumps. Like, if I'm going to keep doing this, I got to love it. Says he's got a lot going on. He's frustrated with the team. I don't know, man. Vibes don't seem high in Cincinnati right now. And I know these teams just played 2 weeks ago, and Cincinnati beat up on Baltimore, but Ravens really got to win this game, given that they just lost to Pittsburgh last week.
Yeah, no, vibes are not high. I have the Ravens covering and winning here, just really killing them. I think the Ravens are going to dominate this one. Like you said, one team's playing for something, another team just got eliminated. Vibes are down. But I think the Ravens also want to embarrass this team after just a really bad loss on Thanksgiving. Really bad loss last week against the Steelers. So I think the Ravens are going to come out and have a statement win here. This is one that they win like 40-10, like a classic dominant Ravens game. And it's like, hey, we're back. And they're just going to want to Harbaugh's going to have the starters and just running it up at the end. So, if you have your Ravens players for fantasy this week, maybe throw them in the lineup because you're going to reap the rewards.
Yeah, dude, I agree with you. I'm going to take the Ravens to win this one. It's like, I know we just saw Cincinnati really bend them over, but for me, it's just going back to who's playing for something, who just suffered. Both teams suffered a really tough loss, both in somewhat heartbreaking fashions. The way Likely dropped the ball for Baltimore, and then the way Burrow kind of threw that game away. But I just go back to the Bengals' last place defense in the league, 31 against the pass, 32 against the run. And I'm like, how at this time of the year, with playoff hopes on the line, do Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry not just take over this game and win it?
My thoughts.
It could be Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase going absolutely nuts. Like Jamar Chase went for 110 just 2 weeks ago against his team. And he might do that again because T. Higgins is back in concussion protocol after experiencing symptoms and not leaving the game on Sunday. So no T. It's going to be Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, and Joe Burrow. What else outside of that? They can only do so much, man. They could still hang 30 in this game and not cover the 2.5 and lose. So I got to go with Baltimore here.
I got to go with you, my man. Got to go with you. So let's see if the Ravens can get it done. Let's see if they can get it done.
They should. All right, man. Your New York Jets, woo, at 3-10 are 13.5 point dogs on the road at the 9-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. Total is only 41.5. Wow. So the Jets team total line must be down in the low teens, which feels about right, man.
Yeah. Well,
do you think they could cover 13.5 though?
I do. I just feel like that's a lot of points, and I have been inspired by how they've been playing recently outside of this Dolphins game. And it's not like the Jaguars. While the Jaguars are a good team and they have won a lot of games, and I did project them to win the division, I haven't been overly impressed with them this year. They don't seem like they're a dominant team. Especially the offensive side of things, it's really clunky. So they're probably going to be a first-round exit, but that's here nor there. So I think they let the Jets hang around. That's a lot of points for a team that doesn't exactly scream dominant on paper. So I could see Trevor Lawrence making a few mistakes here. Maybe this is where the Jets finally get their first interception on the year. The way Trevor Lawrence has been playing,
that sounds like
it wouldn't shock me at all if he threw an interception. I'm curious if that actually is plus or minus odds with the amount he's thrown this year. But yeah, I still think the Jaguars handle business. But, I could see 13.5 is a lot for a team that's not that level of dominant to me. But that also probably is reflecting that Brady Cook's going to be starting.
That is true. Caleb's question earlier, I'm going back to this because I forgot I jotted this down. Jaguars have the number 1 run defense in football now. They've surpassed the Broncos as the top unit against the run.
Yeah.
So absolutely do not start Breece Hall unless you have to, like I absolutely have to in one league. Absolutely have to. I don't have a choice. I don't have a better option. My best other option is Luther Burden. I'm not doing that, right? So do not start Breece Hall because I don't see how the Jets score more than 14 points in this game. If they do, it's probably Breece Hall scoring the touchdown. But yeah, this does not match up well for the Jets with their quarterback situation. I mean, what more needs to be said? I'm going to take the Jags to cover the 13.5 and win. I do think it's unlikely that you have a total like blowout in the first quarter like you had last week. I don't think that happens 2 weeks in a row. I think the Jets are to come out with a little bit more pride and fight. But ultimately, I still think they lose by 2 touchdowns at least.
At least. So you're taking the Jaguars to cover?
I am. They're going to cover the 13.5. They are.
No,
Sorry,
sir.
man. Sorry, man. I'm sure you wouldn't mind it though, because you want that draft pick to creep up, man. You don't want to give up more first round picks to move up and get Fernando Mendoza, do you?
Yeah, that's if we take him.
All right, moving on to a divisional matchup that has a lot of implications for at least the Chargers here. The Chiefs, I mean, they got to win out, but they're still 5.5-point favorites over the Chargers at home here. The line has moved, Reagan. We put down 4.5. The line has already moved to 5.5. So people are buying the Chiefs, which I think is very interesting. 5.5 seems like a lot. I understand the Chargers have a lot of injuries, but they did just beat the Eagles in overtime. So that's interesting to me. Total here is 41.5. Very low. Predicting a defensive grudge match here, which feels about right, especially because it's probably going to be cold in Arrowhead for this one. Do you believe in KC, or are you completely done with Mahomes and the boys for this year, and you want to roll with Herbo?
Yeah, I'm completely done with the Chiefs. I'm rolling with Herbo and the Chargers. They're playing good football right now. They're playing inspired. They're getting it done. Their quarterback's injured, and he's still making big-time plays. And on the Kansas City side, it's just they just keep losing these big games. Like, I think I'm past them at this point where it's like, oh, it's the Chiefs. Like, they're going to win. Like, I'm done with them. They keep losing these games where it's like, oh, it's the Chiefs. There's no way they can lose this one. There's no way they can lose that one. This team's cooked. You're not your mother's Chiefs. They're not your father's Chiefs. They're this new age Chiefs that make a lot of mistakes, have a banged up offensive line, and their wide receiver. Like, Rashee Rice is making big drops, and Travis Kelce's not who he used to be. Like, I'm not saying he's going to retire this year, but like, he seems like he's definitely hit the cliff and is on like a tremendous downslope. He's not nearly what he used to be, and I don't know. They just seem like a team that's cooked, and it's just a rebuild type year, which is crazy to say, but I have no faith in them.
It's crazy, man. They're not going to make the playoffs. Let's be honest here.
No,
Schedule's pretty beat. They need a lot of help. I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world for them if they did lose a couple games and kind of sit in that mid-teens of the draft. Because if they could add Jeremiah Love to this offense, holy fuck, does it change everything for 2026 and how potent this offense could be. Because the defense is still a top 10 unit, and it has been the past 3 years. You could point to the injuries along the offensive line. Really, the decline of the Chiefs this year has been the play of Patrick Mahomes, which sounds crazy to say that because he's just been anointed on this Mount Rushmore already of all-time greats. And it's like, let's take a step back, man. His play has declined. And it's not a bad thing to kind of admit that. With all that being said, I'm picking the Chiefs to win this game. I really am. 5.5 is ridiculous to me. I'm going to take the Chargers to cover that 5.5. I think it'll be a close one. And if the Chargers win outright, fine. I'll take the spread pick over the money line pick. I need it more in that regard. But I'm going to take the Chiefs to win, dude. I don't know. It just feels like everyone's like, oh, they missed the playoffs. They're done. Pack it in. And I'm going to go with the Chargers. But nah, you know what? They'll make things interesting. At least for the Chargers. It's still a divisional matchup. They're still at home. Still at Arrowhead. Fuck it. I think they find a way to win a slugfest like 20-17 over the Chargers.
All right. I don't know about that one, Chief, but we'll see. All
right, brother. All right, that's fine. Cardinals at 3-10 travel to Houston to play the 8-5 Texans, who are 9.5-point favorites. The total is 42.5. Reagan, It is funny. You looked real good with your Texans pick
I know.
about 5 weeks ago when they were 3-5. Now they're sitting here at 8-5.
They kept those
And
receipts. A couple of them were in
some Texans fans. If you guys just want a good laugh, just go to our episode, the Texans one before the season. We broke down every team. It's one of our most viewed podcasts of all time because Reagan got so much shit from Texans fans for saying they're going to miss the playoffs and they're going to go 7-10, and it looked good. They were quiet for a lot of the season, but
I know nobody was saying anything. Yeah,
all of a sudden, the last 2 days, some people coming back. Oh, we kept receipts. What do you got to say now?
I got nothing to say. Their defense is legit. I mean,
the defense is legit. Number one.
I wasn't wrong about
football.
the offense being ass, but the defense is definitely better than I thought it was going to be.
It is number one in football, man, and that's why they're 9.5-point favorites here over the Arizona Cardinals. Are you going to pick the Cardinals to win? You going to be petty, or are you going to take?
No. I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover, but I am going to take the Texans to win. Main reason I'm going to take them to cover is Texans offense is still ass, so this will probably be a low-scoring affair. And even if it does get a little out of hand, like Jacoby Brissett is just a garbage time merchant, so I'd imagine he can do enough in the garbage time to get a backdoor cover. I mean, he's still going to probably get his. He's the one quarterback that, even with as good as the Texans' defense is, he'll still probably throw close to 300 yards just in garbage time.
Houston allows 172 passing yards a game, so it would be on brand for Jacoby Brissett to slang that thing around the yard. Because let's be honest, man, Houston's also the 5th-ranked rush defense. Woody Marks is not efficient on the ground. Their offensive line is terrible. The run game's going to struggle in this one. I'm sorry, Woody Marks, it's the Texans running back. Bam Knight, Michael Carter. They're not going to have any type of run game.
got shut down for the year, I saw.
Yep. So they're not going to have any type of run game in this one. So it's going to have to be on Brissett. Do we have any word on Marv? Is Marv potentially back, or is he still? I think he's still trending to be out. Correct.
So, yeah, I haven't seen any new updates on him, but last I saw, I thought he was going to miss again. I don't know. That's weird, and I'd imagine with him being such a high-valued asset for them, they're definitely not going to try to rush him back. I mean, it said he was a non-participant today. With them being eliminated, I would be shocked if they rush him back. So I'm going to say he's going to be out.
That seems likely. So it's going to have to be Trey McBride and Michael Wilson and Jacoby Brissett to keep him in this game. Ultimately, I don't think it'll be enough. I do think they'll score a little bit here, but I don't know. I think Houston get 20. 20-10 seems right to me. Covered by half a point. Vegas always knows. Feels right to me.
Yeah, it could happen. I definitely don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I definitely lean the under for sure. It's just hard for me to have any confidence in Houston's offense to really blow the floodgates open.
I would love to see Nico Collins really have a big game here just to give him momentum going to the postseason, because if he's not feasting, the offense doesn't have enough juice, man. The rookies aren't stepping up enough. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, I'm not Christian Kirk, whatever. If it's not Nico Collins, I don't know who on this offense is going to be able to help them advance through the postseason.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely it hasn't been pretty. I mean, the defense was huge for them in that game, really getting them in good positions. But I don't know. I wasn't very inspired by their offensive performance.
Valid, man. All right, let's move on here. Cleveland at 3-10 travels to Chicago to play the 9-4 Bears. Chicago 7.5-point favorites. That hook is super annoying. Total 38.5. Obviously, that's reflecting the weather forecast of negative temperature with the wind chills and wind gusts. I think I saw 20, 30 miles an hour, which is legit. So expect a big game on the ground for both teams, which are two of the more run-heavy teams in football already. But obviously, I think the Bears have a quarterback advantage with Caleb over Shedeur in this one. But we'll see, man. Shedeur got a lot of flack for his arm strength before the draft process. This is an opportunity, playing in the outdoors in the wind and negative degree weather, to go out there and kind of make some throws and quiet the doubters. I'm interested to see it, man. I really am. But where'd you land on this game?
Yeah, I ended up taking the Bears to cover and win here. Even though they lost last week to the Packers, they were very much in that game the whole entire time. The Bears have been on fire, even with that loss. they're playing a great brand of football. Ben Johnson's turned it around. For the Browns, like I just don't like their defense, as good as it is.
Number
Let
2.
that Cam Ward offense somehow put up 30-something points last week. And I know it really wasn't Cam Ward, but they got killed on the ground by Tony Pollard, who
Doesn't
has
make
done
sense,
nothing all
man.
year. So
Doesn't make sense.
I would imagine the Bears, who have had a lot of success running the football with their nice 1-2 punch, and Swift and Monungai are going to have some success here. I think both guys could get in, but I kind of like Monungai a lot to get in. So I wouldn't hate that at all in big dogs. Kyle Monungai touchdown. But
dude, I'm like so scarred from running back committees after Etienne fucked us 2 weeks ago.
Fair. But I still do think the Bears get it done in this one and cover. But I'm hoping to see another big game from Shedeur.
I would like to see it too, man. You know, I'm rooting for Shedeur, but I mean, contrary to what some people commented on our one Shedeur clip that we posted, which we weren't even hating on Shedeur, we're hating on Josina Anderson, but it's a whole nother conversation. I'm going to go with the Bears to win. Much better ball club. They're at home. A lot more to play for. They have the talent advantage. The Browns do have a slight advantage on defense, I would say, particularly in the passing game. You did mention they got gashed last week from Tony Pollard, which didn't make any sense to me. But I think 7.5 with the weather forecast, I think it's going to be a slugfest. And I just go back to that stretch the Bears went on where they weren't necessarily playing good teams and they kept winning, but they kept winning by 1 score or less. And I just kind of feel the same thing's going to happen here. They're going to win. They'll probably win by 4. That's just kind of where my head's at, especially with this weather forecast. So give me the Bears to win, but I think Judkins and Shedeur and Harold Fannin can do enough to keep him in this thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, this one's in Chicago, right?
Yes, it's in Chicago.
I was gonna say, okay, otherwise I was gonna say that seems like a high line to be on the road. But not that it matters, because you would get this type of weather in Cleveland anyway.
You would. You certainly would. All right, let's move on here. A game that really does not matter except for my team and having the number 1 overall pick. But the Commanders at 3-10 travel to New York, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium to play my 2-11 New York Football Giants, who are 2.5-point favorites here, clearly because Marcus Mariota is the starting quarterback for Washington in this one. The total is 47.5, though, which is pretty juicy. I like it. I know we talked about this one a little bit earlier. You have confidence in Big Blue. Tell me why.
I do have confidence in Big Blue, and the big reason is Big Blue, they got their nice little toy in Jackson Dart. They want to show him off. Confidence is high. They did get their shit kicked in by the Patriots, but they're coming off the bye in this one. So I think that was much needed. With the interim head coach, Mike Kafka, gives him some more time to really game plan, get the guys behind what he's trying to do there. So I think that definitely helps. And the Commanders are just a team that's dead in the water right now. Like they're mentally checked out this season with all the injuries and the fact that, obviously they were in the NFC Championship game last year, and then now you're fighting for a top 5 pick. So I do think the Giants win here with Jackson Dart. Just a lot more to play for at this point.
It is funny, this matchup. You're featuring the 2 defenses that are the worst in football outside the Bengals in terms of total yards allowed. So potentially a little bit of a barn burner, a little sneaky, high-scoring, fun game for 2 teams that don't matter, but make your fantasy playoffs interesting. I could see that happening. I'm also going to go with the Giants here. You brought up the bye week, and that's exactly what I was going to talk about. A Week 14 bye is fucking brutal. That sucks.
Well, good for the Patriots, but
yeah, for a Patriots team that got in when they
Niners,
were.
really, actually, all the teams but the Giants that kind of benefited.
It is true, but it also is like a grind going 13 games in a row before a bye. So for those teams that are good and, they're fine, it actually does become beneficial. But for a Giants team that was reeling and fired their head coach, that bye.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they really wanted it earlier. But they are fresh. You're right. They have the quarterback advantage here, clearly. And it's hard to have any confidence in what the Commanders can do defensively, and even with Mariota at the helm on offense right now. No Ertz, a leader of that offense. So, sure, Terry, Debo, solid. They should have some success against this Giants secondary, that's for sure. But
Ben Sinnott, fire him up.
Ben Sinnott, man. Ben Sinnott, been talking about him for 2 years now? Finally, an opportunity for our guy
Fire them up.
Yeah, man. I mean, what kind of fan would I be if I'm not taking the Giants in this dog shit matchup? It was fun while it lasted, having the number 1 overall pick and looking at mock drafts. I looked at a lot this week. Probably more so than any other week because it was always them trading back and using 2 first-round picks, either from the Rams or the Jets or the Browns or something. So that was fun while it lasted, but I think it ends here. Giants will win this game. They'll tank their draft stock. It happens every freaking year, man. Happens every freaking year. I remember the Chase Young Bowl a few years ago. It actually worked out for the Giants getting Andrew Thomas, but it was just like, oh, come on, like lose and just get a higher pick. But yeah, I think they get the win here.
We'll see. We shall see.
It'll be a fun one.
Matter.
I got Jackson Dart in a fantasy playoff matchup, so I'll be rooting for Dart to go off. And Wan'Dale Robinson, I got a shit ton of best ball, so we need a big Wan'Dale game. All right, here, moving on. We touched on this game a little bit earlier because no Geno Smith for the Raiders, who are 2-11. It'll be most likely be Kenny Pickett traveling to Philadelphia to play the 8-5 Eagles on the road. That is tough. Philly's an 11.5-point favorite here, and a total of 38.5 means the Raiders aren't projected to score many points in this one. And why would they be? Their offensive line can't block for Ashton Genty, even without Jalen Carter for Philly. I mean, Jordan Davis, they got some good linebacker play. They got some dudes still in that front seven. So I have a hard time thinking Genty's going to get going in this one. And then from a passing attack standpoint, the fuck is Kenny Pickett going to do? Let's be honest. But hey, maybe they can cover 11.5, Reagan. What say you?
No, I'm taking the Eagles to cover a win here. Great bounce back spot. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a winner, so this is the best bounce back spot you could possibly ask for on both sides of the ball. I think the offense is going to look good in this one. And the defense definitely will look good in this one. I'm sure those edge rushers are going to feast on that terrible Raiders defensive line. So give me the Eagles by like 20, 30 points. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked that the Raiders don't even crack double digits in this one.
Not much more to say. I agree with you full-heartedly. Now, if Saquon Barkley comes out here, he's only got, I think, 1 game, maybe 2 games with 100 rushing yards this season.
Last week was 1 for sure.
And he did against the Giants. So 2 games. I don't think he's done it any other game this season. 2 games, 100 rushing yards. This is the spot. If you drafted Barkley early in your fantasy drafts and you still made it to the playoffs, this is where he gets you back. Right here. This moment. If it's not now, then when? Trust me. I'm the biggest Saquon hater you'll probably ever meet. He's still on one of my dynasty teams because I couldn't give up on him because he left my team. And he went for 2,000 yards last year. Couldn't give up on him after that because the motherfucker went for 2,000 yards. Here we are. I held him, and I'm like, fuck. I punch him in the lineup every single week. He gives me 10 to 13 points. It kind of sucks. This is why you have him. This is the get-right spot at home. Double-digit point favorites. Had a big touchdown run last week, which hopefully reignites that Philly run game. If not now, then when, Reagan? I'll leave it at that.
I don't know. Is he going in big dogs? Actually, I don't even know what his odds would be to score. He might be actually at a point where it's like kind of gross.
No, yeah, just given the production where it's like there's always the chance of a tush push. He's had his duds. But then again, they're favored. They're
minus
favored
170 or something. Gross
yeah, and at that point, it's not going to juice me up enough to be confident. Like, there's a lot of the guys in that range I'd rather have, I think. But I do think this is a spot for Barkley to go for 100 yards. Fuck, maybe he goes for 2 touchdowns and we look like idiots not putting him in. But I'm going to play it safe and not go with him.
Fair.
All right, we also talked about this game a little bit earlier because Phillip Rivers is in line to start for the 8-5 Colts at the 10-3 Seahawks. Now, imagine a month ago, Reagan, you looking ahead at this line and seeing Seattle minus 13.5. You'd be like, oh, my God, what the hell
what happened
here?
Yeah.
Nope, it's a 44-year-old grandfather starting at quarterback for Indy. That's what happened. Total of 42.5. Clearly not a lot of love for this Colts team, this Colts offense this week. Do you think Phillip can cover 13.5, though? Because you're not picking him to win. I know that.
Yeah, it's I took Seattle just because not even if Phillip Rivers does look okay, it's just the Seattle defense has been so freaking good. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll take you know what? No, I'll take the Colts to cover. You know what? Fuck it.
Oh, wow.
I'll take the Colts to cover. And the reason why is it doesn't make any sense. This is why I'll take it, because Vegas is going to clean up because all the casuals are going to bet on Seattle to win. But the Colts are going to, especially because they've been so good against the spread. But I am going to switch to the Colts to cover and Seattle to win. It's just one of those ones that's not going to make sense where everyone's going to be like Phillip Rivers off the street, like no way in hell. And Seattle being like the best team on the year against the spread. You know, both things make me think it's a trap. So give me the Colts to somehow backdoor cover it here. That's one of those ones doesn't make any sense, but you know what? Who cares?
All right, man. That's a ballsy pick. I'm gonna take Seattle to win and cover here. They'll
definitely win. I'm not getting that crazy.
Seattle defense has been a star of my fantasy team. I tell you what, man. It's freaking unbelievable. 32 points and then 20 points the last 2 weeks, and they're in a prime spot to do something like that again. Now, the thing with Rivers is they should sack him a fuck ton because you can't move, and I don't know, but apparently his son's been running this offense on his team while Phillip's been the coach, and him and Steichen keep in touch and talk about offensive game plans and shit. So the guy knows the offense. He knows how to read a defense. So, I mean, does he have the arm strength? That's what's to be seen. Can he fit it in windows? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious.
But ultimately, I got to go with Seattle. And another thing here, I could tell you who's definitely in big dogs this week. I'm going back to the well with Jackson Smith and Jigba. 2 touchdowns last week. Another one in the end zone where his foot was out of bounds. Could have made it 3. And you look at the Colts. They finally thought they figured out their cornerback tandem for a Super Bowl push. And, of course, the Sauce Gardner injury to the calf, which sucks. Even worse, though, is Charvarius Ward, another concussion. And it's unfortunate. It might be the end of the road for Ward because when he came back from that brutal concussion he suffered earlier in the season, he missed a month. He said he was contemplating retirement because he was thinking about his long-term health. And unfortunately, a couple weeks later, back in the protocol. So he's on IR. I got to imagine his season's done. Maybe he comes back next year. I don't know. But you look at that and the Colts without their top 2 corners. I don't see how JSN does not go for over 100 yards and a touchdown here. It might even happen in the first half, and they take their foot off the gas in the second half.
Hey, that would be nice. That'd be very nice for big dogs if that is the case. I will say, though, if it's Riley Leonard, I think the Seattle covers. I think the only way they cover is if it's Phillip Rivers.
You have more faith in the 44-year-old than the rookie
that's
quarterback who led Notre Dame the national title last year.
I do, bro. I do, because the more it doesn't make sense, the more I like it. Is kind of where I'm at.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, to a 4:00 game that has a lot more juice. The Green Bay Packers at 9-3-1 travel to Denver to face the 11-2 Broncos. Green Bay 2.5-point favorites on the road. Nuts. The total 42.5 here. Hey, you got the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. I gotta imagine that's where you're picking in this one.
I'm taking the Broncos to win here. I'm taking them to cover. I think it's disrespectful for an 11-2 win team with like really no major injuries to be, the underdogs at home. So I think that's disrespectful. I think their defense is better than Green Bay's. Everyone acts like Green Bay's got the best defense, but I think the Broncos do. Well, actually, Houston does statistically, but I think this Broncos defense is legit.
They're both top 5. Both top 5.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a low-scoring affair, but both offenses of them look great. Green Bay has looked better as of recent, but I'm going with Bo Nix and the boys at home to get it done here against Green Bay. It'll be like a field goal, probably. Most Broncos games are close as hell, but that don't matter. They're winning here. Give me the Broncos as home underdogs.
See, for me, like, these teams, I feel like, are very, very evenly matched. And I would not be shocked at all if this is our Super Bowl matchup this year. I would not. It could be a Super Bowl preview, to be honest with you. I'm going with Green Bay. The reason being, you're right. Them being favored by 2.5 points feels wrong. It feels trappy. And I'm going to go with the trap. I'm going to spring the trap. That's what I'm going to do. So give me the Packers. That's my analysis for you. Spring the trap. I'm going to side with Vegas here over the public because I'd imagine the public will be on the home team as underdogs with a better record.
Nah, bro. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
That's what I'm doing. All right, man. A game that probably is not going to be close. Another massive spread. The Niners are 12.5-point favorites at home. Sitting at 9-4, hosting the 2-11 Titans, getting their second win of the season last week against the Browns, 31-29. San Fran ain't the Browns, though. They ain't. And San Fran off a bye, nice and rested, hosting the worst team in the league. 12.5 is freaking nuts. The question is, do you think Cam Ward and the boys can cover that? Because let's be honest, they're not winning this ball game.
Do I think Cam Ward and the boys can cover? No, I don't. Nope, I don't. I think the 49ers, with 2 weeks to prepare for an already historically bad team, no issues here. I think the Niners, with all those injuries on the defense, still have been playing really well. But that's just another week to try to, figure out the things that work best for all these, third, fourth stringers that now have been thrusted in the roles. I think they're going to make life hell for Cam Ward, and I don't see how this Titans defense is going to be able to stop this insane 49ers offense. So give me the Niners to roll in this one. McCaffrey, Kittle, Purdy, this whole offense is just going to be cooking.
Yeah, dude, I agree. I think San Fran's going to hang like 37 points in this one, something in that ballpark, and there's just no way Tennessee's going to be able to keep up. I mean, I know last week they hung 30 in the Browns, which is a better defense than San Fran's for sure. But that just seemed like lightning in a bottle, like an outlier type of performance, right? I don't think they can replicate that after another week, especially with San Fran coming off a bye, being rested, having more time to prepare for whatever this rookie quarterback can throw at them. So I don't even care that San Fran's defense is not elite, but like by any stretch of the means with where they are personnel wise, doesn't matter. They're going to be outclassed from an offensive standpoint and from a coaching standpoint, and that's all they need to cover this spread.
Yeah. I mean, poor Cam Ward, but they got a win last week, so we were saying we didn't know if they'd win another game this season, and they did. So, even if the Niners kill them here,
it's
still
all right.
got 2 wins on the year.
They'll be back in the number 1 overall pick slot after this week.
All right, probably not, because the Raiders are still going to probably not win another game either.
That's true. I don't know who has the strength of schedule tiebreaker. I believe actually the Titans, I think, have a tougher schedule than the Raiders. So the Raiders are ahead of them right now in the 2, right?
Yeah, I think the Giants. Yeah, the Giants are 1, and they'll win this week. And then the Raiders are 2. Yeah, Raiders are 2. Titans are 3. That's why I thought because I don't think the Raiders are going to win another game. But they do play the Saints. I think that was the big one, is the Raiders Saints. We still get, or was it Raiders Browns? No, who did the Raiders? No, it's either Raiders Saints, or no, is it the Raiders Giants? No, it's Raiders Giants is who play each other. That's going to be the big one.
Yeah, that is going to be big.
Because I don't think the Titans win another game.
Yeah, so the Giants win that one too, man. To be honest with you. All right, speaking about those Saints, they're at home, fresh off a pretty good win for Tyler Shuck and the boys over the Bucs. Can they play spoiler again, hosting the 7-6 Carolina Panthers? Carolina's only a 2.5-point favorite here, so Shuck and the boys are getting a little bit of love. The total is 40.5. Will the Saints play spoiler again? I can't imagine you're picking the Saints because
no, come
you're
on,
a closet
now.
Panthers fan.
I don't even know. I think I'm out of the closet. I'm the Panthers. I'm rooting for this year right now, man. I think they're gonna get it done here. But dude, listen, they underestimated them last time. I think they were riding high after the big win over the Packers, and it was like, oh, we got the Saints at home. Like after the bye and after the embarrassing loss the first time around, like I think the Panthers are gonna have the perfect game plan here to get it done and win. The Saints coming off of a tough division game last week, getting a big win is huge for their confidence. But I think Dave Canales is gonna have this team ready to go, knowing, and I think, although it's, there could be some sense of a look ahead where it's like we got the Bucs next week, like that game matters so much more. I could see that happening, but we'll see. Depending on how what'll be really telling is if Tampa Bay loses, I could see the Panthers. I could see the Panthers losing as well because they're so worried about the Bucs next week. We're like, oh, if we beat them, then we're really going to take a big gap. But if the Bucs win, I think the Panthers win. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. I like it. I think the Panthers win regardless here.
Yeah, I think they get it done.
Yeah, I think just with where they are, with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, that two-headed monster, the Saints much more susceptible on the ground than they are through the air. I just think they match up well with New Orleans. Granted, I understand what happened earlier in the season, but I think these two teams are – I don't even know both teams, but at least Carolina is kind of a different light right now, and they can see the finish line for a division win. So with just having that extra juice, I think it's going to be a big day in the ground. I don't know if Bryce Young even throws for 200 yards. I don't even know if he has to for them to get a win here. But I will say Tyler Shuck did impress me a lot last week, so I'm curious to see how he follows that up in this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is like we said with Shador and him, they're really going to be playing for their jobs over the next 4 games because you think both teams are going to be in spots to draft a quarterback next year. So it's up to these guys to put enough on the field that they make the ownership groups and the head coaches want to give them another year and opt to not draft a quarterback. So he's playing for his future job. I'm curious, too, how the Panthers' backfield will shake up after, Chuba had a big game last week. Like, is he going to be more involved again? I mean, the lines right now in DraftKings is 60 for Rico and 40 for Chuba. So I guess they're expecting both to be involved, but still more Rico. But
does that mean a 60-40 split? Is that what we're going to see now?
I guess that's how I take it. And it looks like Devin Neal's going to start again for the Saints. So if he's on your waiver wires, definitely go pick him up. Good matchup still.
Yeah, it is. All right, the big game in the 4:00 slate here. I mean, granted, Packers-Broncos is pretty big too. But Lions-Rams is a sick game. Detroit sitting at 8-5 really needs this one. A win here would be massive for their playoff push, while the Rams sitting at 10-3 still got to fight off the Seahawks for that division, man. It's really and the Niners. Mm-hmm. That division is sick right now. So really big playoff implications for both teams in this one. The Rams are 5.5-point favorites, though, which seems like a big spread. Total 47. Sorry. Holy shit. 55.5 is the total. That is ridiculous. Tell you what, big dog's eyeing up this game. Licking my chops to get some guys.
4 o'clock games, too. It's crazy. We normally don't see that.
Yeah, dude, that is fucking sweet. 4 o'clock games. It's almost like a whole nother slate. So, I mean, it's almost, I think there were 6 1 o'clock games after Thanksgiving last week. We almost have the same full slate in the 4 o'clock window this week.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet. And we got some absolute bangers of some games. So I kind of wish they staggered it better. I wish the Packers and Broncos kicked off at 4:05 because all games kick off at 4:25, which is weird to me. But whatever, it's fine. It's fine. 5.5 points. That seems like a lot, man. Are you going to go with the Rams to win and cover the 5.5?
No, actually, I'm taking Detroit in this one.
Wow.
They're going to win outright. Yeah, I like what I saw from them on Thursday Night Football. They're also coming off the, 10 days rest. Yeah, 10 days rest in this one where the Rams are coming off of a, normal week's rest, I guess you could say. I mean, obviously, it was a nice bounce-back game for the Rams. They got it done against the Cardinals. But I think this game matters so much more for the Lions. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth battle, but I really like what I saw from Detroit on Thursday Night Football. So I think this Lions team's fired up and ready to go right now and might kick the Rams in the mouth in this one.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm also going to go with the Lions. I'm going to go with the underdog here. I like what Dan Campbell's got these boys doing. I mean, they took it to Dallas last week, hanging 44. That was fucking sweet. Despite Dallas hanging 30, like their offense was just too good. I will say, no Brian Branch with the Achilles is alarming because their secondary's been their weakness all year, and this is not the team that you want to have a weak secondary against. So I think the total makes sense. I do think Detroit's going to have to go full throttle on offense to pull this off, but obviously I think they will if I'm picking them. And I tell you what, I'm eyeing up 2 guys from this game for big dogs. Puka Nacua. Okay. I think he's got a much better price than Devontae Adams. The volume last week was just freaking nuts. And, of course, he scored. Adams didn't. I didn't even realize Adams doesn't have a game with more than 5 catches this year, but he's just a touchdown machine. But I don't want to take him at 180 when I can take Puka at minus 140. And I know he's going to get double-digit targets in this one with no Brian Branch. Terry and Arnold, even if he's back, he's one of the most hated on guys in Detroit sports because he's not lived up to that first-round draft status. So give me Puka Nacua. And I got to go back to the Hall of Famer here, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The dude just got some grit. He's got some balls. I'm not a big fan of his, to be honest with you, but you got to respect him. A week off from Thanksgiving to last Thursday, playing with the ankle sprain, playing over 90% of snaps, and going 6 for 92 is really impressive. He did not score, which means he's due. And he is a Big Dogs Hall of Famer. So with a total of 55.5, I'm not taking Gibbs at minus 200. I'm going to go to the best wide receiver on Detroit in Amon-Ra St. Brown.
All right, buddy. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Sunday Night Football now. Man, a game that when they drew it up should have had a lot more lust to it. But you got Minnesota at 5-8 playing the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 5.5-point favorite. Total of 47.5. I know that 9 had a pretty good week last week. Threw for about $160, 3 tuts, no INTs. But he's going to have to do more than that, I think, to win this game with the way this Dallas offense operates. What do you think, man? Do you believe in 9?
I think this is the 9 coming out party. I think he's going to cook the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. I think the Vikings get it done here. I think 9 looks great. This ends Dallas's playoff hopes. I guess they wouldn't be mathematically eliminated, but I predict Philly to win, so that would put them back, I think, 3.5 then. No, I think this would mathematically eliminate them in this one, but regardless, I think this is just a 9 cook fest in this one. I am so bought in here. I like what I saw from the Vikings defense last week. I do not like what I saw from the Dallas defense last week. I don't even know. It
defense
sounds like
is good, man.
It sounds like CD might miss this one. I mean, I guess I haven't said either way, but at this point, I'm thinking CD is going to miss with the concussion. It's not something you could just.
Stephen Jones said, like 2 days ago, he's like, "Oh yeah, he's tracking. Like he's tracking the play, like no setbacks. So
yeah,
he might play. CD might play.
Know. I mean, I feel like they might be jumping through some hoops to make that happen. But regardless, give me 9 and the boys to get it done here. So I'm pumped. I think they're going to get it done. Big statement.
That's crazy,
win.
Brother.
He's a winner, brother. He's a winner.
I will say Minnesota is the 4th ranked passing defense, so they kind of match up well with what Dallas wants to do, especially if there's no CeeDee Lamb. Shit, brother. Shit. If there's no CeeDee Lamb, you know what? I might be able to get behind 9. Pause. But I'm not going to do that. I am going to take Dallas to win and cover. It is Jerry's world, and I'm not going to put too much stock into what I saw from 9 last week. I'm going to bank on what I've seen all season. And despite this being a pretty good matchup for them, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball as effectively against this Dallas front 7 now that Overshone's back. And, of course, having Quinn Williams and Kenny Clark. So it's going to have to be on 9 to get it done. And I'm not willing to take that risk just yet. So give me Dallas. Before we move off this game, you're predicting a 9 cook fest in this one.
Yeah.
Predict Justin Jefferson's stat line.
7 for 63 and a touchdown.
You think he gets back in the end zone, huh? He finds
Bader? I don't think he needs Jefferson to go for like 150 to cook. I think between Hawkinson,
that's
Addison,
cooking. 150 is cooking. That ain't cooking, dog.
For Justin, 150 receiving yards?
Oh, I thought you meant passing yards for 9.
Oh, no. I'm saying for Justin Jefferson, 150 receiving yards. For 9, I think he'll be pushing 300 passing yards in this one.
Wow.
And 3 touchdowns.
Will that be in your felt 5? Something along the lines of 9? There will be a 9.
There will be something 9 in there.
Can you just put the name as 9?
Probably be like that on the graphic.
Well, we make the rules, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. Exactly right.
All right, let's wrap up this pod with Monday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins on a heater at 6-7 travel to Pittsburgh to play the 7-6 Steelers, who got back on track with a monstrous win over Baltimore last week. And it is Pittsburgh, a 3-point favorite here, basically saying on a neutral field these teams are about even. Total 42.5. I know you mentioned this on the recap pod the other day. I believe you're going to go with Miami, but explain a little bit more about that. Why are you going with the Dolphins?
I'm going with the Dolphins here, man. I like the way they're playing right now. Like, they look good. Mike McDaniels is the first coach ever to go from like being on a boiling hot seat and like losing the locker room to somehow turn it around. Granted, the schedule's been very favorable for them, but almost seems like as soon as Tyreek went down, like they figured out a way to fix the offense or have it more efficient, and that's running through A-Chain. So I think there's going to be a heavy dosage of A-Chain here mixed in with some Waddle, and they're going to get it done here. Like, and this is also classic Steelers, like after getting a big win where it's like, all right, Steelers are turning a corner now. Like, now they're going to run away with this division. Like, they're just going to lose this game at home or in a game that they should win, and then let Baltimore right back into this division race. That's just classic Steeler football.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, dude. I'm also going with Miami for every reason you just listed. And you know what? I actually think that this is a good matchup for Miami. That Steelers passing defense has been shit all year. That's why they signed Asante Samuel Jr. It's crazy. Like, they released Darius Slay. Like, that didn't work out for them. Like, they're desperate for help in the secondary. So it wouldn't shock me if Etienne has like 6 receptions for over 50 yards in this one, maybe a receiving touchdown. I expect a big Waddle game. And you know what, man? Like, am I slightly concerned that it's going to be cold and Tua doesn't play well in the cold? Yes. But I also can't get on board with the Steelers team, man. Just, it was 1 week. I get it. They beat Baltimore, but they were reeling before that. Like, Rodgers is in the media saying shit about guys need to be more bought in and, going to war with the media. Like, it's a struggle bus. There were fire Tomlin chants. Like, one win doesn't right that ship in my mind, even if it's against your rival and puts you in a good spot. So, yeah, I am going to take Miami with you, man. I am.
Hey, let's get it, man. Let's get it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious to see like how DK looks in this one after they've been on such a hot streak. Or I mean, not such a hot streak, but after he had such a big game after being on such a cold streak. So I'm curious to see how the Rodgers DK connection looks in this one, if they can continue to build on that after he had like 7 or 8 bad games in a row and then exploded last week. So
and this is
that
a prime
would be
spot.
nice to continue to see.
That Miami secondary is not good, so it is a prime spot.
Yeah, so I would love to see that, to see him continue to cook with Rodgers in this one. But give me the Dolphins to get to 7-7.
All right, that wraps up our Week 15 predictions. The Around the Felt boys will be back next week to break down all things Week 15 and then, talk about our fantasy playoffs, how we all advanced, how we all made money in best ball, and it'll be great. It'll be a fun time. We can't wait to do it again next week. We'll catch you soon here on Around the Felt Sports.
Peace out. Peace out.